When it was officially announced that JJ Redick was going to be the head coach for the Los Angeles Lakers, there were some skeptics out there, to say the least. Considering the fact that JJ Redick had zero head coaching experience prior to this hiring, and the fact that he had a very popular podcast about basketball in the NBA, a lot of people were wondering whether or not he was the right person for the job. But to be completely honest with you, that always confused me. Because if you ever actually listened or watched JJ on his podcast or on like the ESPNs and the First Takes and all that kind of stuff, if you actually listened to what the guy was saying when it came to basketball, it was very clear that the guy knows what he's talking about. Talking about different schemes, game plans, mentalities, all that kind of stuff that, just certain people on ESPN don't really take into consideration when they talk about the game. They kind of talk about more base level stuff. I mean, that's not even including his Mind the Game podcast that he had with literally LeBron James, where they would literally just talk about game plans, schemes, talking about like the X's and O's of basketball. So suffice it to say, there were a lot of doubters for JJ as a head coach in this league when it first happened, but now those doubts have been put to rest. Before we get into everything, what's good, guys? It's Dimmy M7. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and you're gonna have a great week. I know it. As it stands right now, the Lakers are the 4th seed in the West, only behind the Thunder, the Grizzlies, and the Nuggets. Speaking of the Nuggets, which is basically the whole reason I'm making this video, what I saw JJ Redick and the Lakers do against the Denver Nuggets a couple of nights ago, it's just mind-boggling. See, when the Lakers and Mavericks traded for Luka Doncic and Anthony Davis, I was under the impression that the Lakers defense was going to suffer considerably because Anthony Davis was their best defensive player and their defensive anchor. But the game plan that they had against Nikola Jokic, let me just put this into perspective for you. Nikola Jokic, you know him, the 3-time MVP, the best player on the planet, the guy who has basically daddied the Lakers for the last couple of years now. The guy's averaging about 30 points per game this season. Against the Lakers, and specifically Anthony Davis, there has never been a game where Nikola Jokic has shot less than about 43% from the field. But against the Lakers 2 nights ago, he shot 28%. He only took 7 shots. The defense was so good on Jokic. JJ found so many different ways to get multiple players to get over to Jokic and find ways to disrupt him, disrupt the Nuggets offense. And in many ways, it was actually Jokic's worst game that we've seen from him in a minute, which I admit is also kind of funny because he still ended the game with a triple-double. It's funny to me that a Jokic triple-double, as low as it was, is considered bad for him, but it would have been great for 99% of players. But anyways, I digress. You get the point. The defense on him was fantastic. Couple that with the fact that Luka Doncic is becoming comfortable in this offense, which, by the way, JJ, he needs to make Luka Doncic the engine of this offense. It needs to run through him, not LeBron James, because that's when this team is really going to be at their best. And in case you didn't know, they didn't just beat the Nuggets, they destroyed them. They beat them by 23 points. So considering the win against the Nuggets, how they beat the Nuggets, and where they are right now in the standings, there's no doubt in my mind that JJ Redick right now is a top 10 coach in the NBA. Now, you might think that that's, not saying too much, but you have to remember how many great coaches are in the league right now. You've got Ime Udoka, you've got Eric Spoelstra, Ty Lue, Steve Kerr is still there, Joe Mazzulla, Tom Thibodeau. I mean, there's a lot of great coaches, and to put JJ in that list is actually a very, very big compliment because this dude has obsessed with basketball. He is obsessed with coaching this team. He literally said he got no sleep preparing for this Nuggets game, and you can tell the dude was ready. If that's the kind of preparation that JJ is going to put for a regular season game against the Nuggets, what do you think he's going to do when the playoffs come around? This dude's going to have all the schematics. He's going to have all the different plays drawn up. He's going to look exactly like how he did in that commercial for Sports Center or something, where he's on that drawing board and he's talking about the Pythagorean theorem. That will literally be him in the playoffs. So you think about the coaching and you think about the level of defense that this team is playing even without Anthony Davis, and then of course you think about the fact that they've got Luka Doncic and LeBron James heading into the playoffs. The Lakers could actually make a lot of noise. A hell of a lot more noise than I thought they were going to make, I'll be honest about that. Because I said after the massive trade that I didn't think the Lakers were going to be too much of a problem even when the playoffs came around. But I'm sorry, after this win against the Nuggets and after how they have looked since the trade, there's no reason for me to believe that the Lakers won't be a massive issue. Now, look, I'm not going to get ahead of myself too much. I still think the Thunder are better. I do think the Nuggets are going to be better when the playoffs come around. Defenses tighten up, game plans, schemes, that sort of thing. And of course, Jokic and Murray in the playoffs is always going to be a problem for anybody. And I certainly think Memphis will have something to say about being one of the better teams in the West. But I just had to give JJ Redick his flowers. Everyone that was saying he was a podcaster and that, Darvin Ham was doing just as good. Nah, man, we're done with all that. JJ Redick is coaching circles around Darvin Ham right now. I don't even think it's too much to say that maybe JJ Redick deserves some Coach of the Year consideration, because that's just how great of a job he's been doing so far. But yeah, that's just all I have to say about it. Please let me know in the comments what you think about all this, about JJ, the Lakers, everything. And until next time, peace.